So oligopoly has a few very large producers, it has concentrated market power. There can be either the same or differentiated products. There's control over price, and then economies of scale are important. So, hey, Badmir, you want to go ahead?
Sir, sorry, like one thing makes me confused, like, and this 10% bonus assignment is gonna be, we're gonna write about the, like, after then graduating, what we wanna do with the business. We're just gonna like do our future plan on that, or like how?
So you, for the business, you talk about your business, like you talk about, like if you have a current business, you state your website and talk about what you're doing. And
You can write about the crypto too, like a crypto business.
yeah, if you want to create a crypto business, you can write about that and talk about how the business works,
Oh,
the
okay.
website, and just create a website for it, or
I already
social
have a
media.
website for that. Like I'm currently using it. I can write about them, right? How it's working, like what's going on there, like giving
Yeah,
information.
that works. Yeah, just send me the website and talk about what the company does and how it makes money.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want it to be, I want everyone to have a real business that they created that they can use, that they can work on past the course. So you have it up and running now, and then you can work on it even when the course is finished. So yeah, I want a real, like you to create a real
For example,
business.
like I'm sometimes I'm still using the like Binance or Crypto.com or that kind of big websites. Like can I write about them? Like
Yeah,
what's
you can. You can talk about like how you trade on those websites.
yeah.
You trade crypto on those websites. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, good. And I'm gonna send it to you by email.
Through the Dropbox, or
Yeah.
if you can't submit it through Dropbox, then send it to me over email.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Good question. So oligopoly, the 40% or more of the industry sales, if they're generated by, if 40% or more of the industry sales are generated by four largest firms in oligopoly. So the Herfindahl index shows if it's an oligopoly. So tobacco products have the highest oligopoly rating based on the Herfindahl index. Then brewery products are second. Potato chip, pretzel, and popcorn companies are third, and then motor vehicle companies are fourth. So the problem with oligopolies is they can hurt consumers through trying to maximize profits through high prices, and that's the problem with an oligopoly. And that's the biggest problem with an oligopoly. So it's important that we have more competition because that'll prevent these high prices. So but with oligopoly, a lot of game theory happens where companies companies compete with each other, and they figure out where will maximize their benefits. So in this case, the Bill's best strategy is to confess in this case, because if he does confess, he will make, so like if he does confess, he'll make the most profit. So in this case, like he'll make 12. So if Bill confesses, sorry. So I'm just gonna clear this. So if Bill confesses, he will only receive 1 year in jail compared to 12 years if he doesn't confess. So he'd only have 1 year in jail if he confesses, compared to 12 years in jail if he doesn't confess. But this is dependent. However, this only works if Al doesn't confess. Yeah, because so if Bill confesses and Al doesn't confess, Bill benefits with less prison time. and Al loses with more prison time. So that's just what happened. That's what happens here. So this is very dependent on what the other person does. So like if they both confess, they will get 4 years in prison each. If one of them confess, that person will get 1 year in prison, and the other gets 12 years in prison through not confessing. If both of them do not confess, they would both get 2 years in prison. So what so yeah, there's a risk. There's a real risk to this. So ideally you want to confess and the other person not confess for you to benefit. So in this case, they would both confess, because the reason why they would both confess, because they would believe, because they would get only 1 year in prison if they confessed and the other didn't confess. Yeah, so they would assume that the other would not confess. However, the other would confess. So that's just what happens. They'd end up both confessing here, because they would think that the other won't confess. So that's just what would happen here. That's where they would end, basically. So with game theory, it's usually based on pricing. So like one company could price high, one company could price low. They could both price low, or they could both price high. So in this case, they would both price low, because if one priced low and the other priced high, the one that priced low would maximize profits. So they would both price low. Based on this, they would both price low because they want to make more profits. And plus, if they yes, so like they would both price low because they want to make more profits here. So like in this case, in order to prevent the losses from this, they would collude. So they would set prices where both of them would maximize profits. And they would work together to make sure that they both maximize profits by setting marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. So they would collude in this case to maximize their profits. So yeah, collusion is when they work together to fix prices, divide up the market, or restrict competition. So this is so they set prices to maximize profits. So in this case, they would kind of share. So like let's say Bell and Rogers would be the examples here. So Bell would be over here. They would produce half of it, and then Rogers would produce the other half. So like Bell produces half of the TV industry, and Rogers produces the other half of the TV industry. In this case, they would both work together to set each of their prices where marginal revenue would equal marginal costs, and this would maximize profits. for both of them. So this is what you call collusion. This is collusion / cartel. So this is what they would do to make a collusion cartel. So they would supply both halves of the television market and set their prices at the same rate. So Bell and Rogers would charge the exact same price. And this price would allow marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. So can you think of any other industry that would behave like this, like a duopoly, an oligopoly that could do this as well, maximize profits and share like half or a share of the output and set prices mostly identical to make profits maximize? Christopher, can you think of an industry like that?
Not now, but
That's okay. Hey Badmir, do you want to try? Can you think of an industry that would do this type of situation? What about Jing? Can you think of an industry that would behave like this?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. I can't.
Well, that's okay. Nira Liddy, do you want to try?
Maybe some beers company because of
Ye-
beers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the vodka industry would basically follow this because vodka, almost all vodka is the same price.
Sir, how about the phone numbers? Like maybe the numbers is controlling the, like basically phones, can say.
Yeah, phones would follow this as well. Yeah, exactly. So the Bell, Telus, and Rogers, they could each supply a third of the industry.
Maybe
And
the gas system like is controlling the cars, like other vehicles. Like, there's a couple of them.
Yeah, exactly. So like Bell, Telus, and Rogers, they could all each supply a third of the industry and set prices identical to maximize profits. Ford, GM,
Yeah.
and other
GM.
car companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Those are good examples. Hey, about me. So they could all supply a share of the industry and set prices identical to maximize profits. So those are great examples. Hey, about me.
Thank you.
also could be maybe the petroleum industry, maybe the OPEC that set the prices for the oil.
Yes, exactly. That's a good example, Christopher. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the oil industry does this through OPEC. They all coordinate together to set prices to maximize profits. So that's a good example as well. OPEC, the oil companies, they do this constantly. Even though collusion is legal, it still happens. So these countries, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, UAE, Iran, Kuwait, Venezuela, Nigeria, Angola, Algeria, Indonesia, Qatar, Ecuador, Libya, Gabon, they're all OPEC nations, and they produce about 34% of the world's oil, and 34% of the oil sold in the world market, and they work as a cartel. So they set prices to maximize profits all across their companies. So they all coordinate together to maximize profits through setting price where marginal revenue is equal to marginal costs. So obstacles to collusion. So it's very hard to maintain cartels and collusion because demand and cost differences, number of firms, cheating, recession, new entrants, and legal obstacles. So there's so with that, the oligopolies, they will go more into the one-time game here. The like before the Nash equilibrium right here. So they would go both international. So like Dramco would want to go. So like both would want to go international, because if one goes international, they have maximum profits. If the other goes national. However, if they both go international, they will not maximize profits. However, they will both go international because they will risk the other choosing to go international. So they will always risk it if the payoff is 20, if the other like if they go international and the payoff's 20, they'll risk the other person going national. But the truth is they'll both go, they'll both try to maximize. So that's the risk that they have, but they'll always take that risk. This is what happens here. So credible threats do happen when companies go against the collusive agreement. So like one might try to undercut the other, like one might try to price it lower. One may try to price lower to take all of the business of the other competitor, thereby breaking the collusive agreement. So this does happen in collusion. However, they are best off if they both coordinate on price to maximize profits. However, one company usually gets greedy and tries to take all of the business of the other company through undercutting on price. That usually happens here. So that's why we have these prisoner's dilemma here, these games here. This shows that one company could undercut the other to try to take all the other's business, and this does happen a lot. So this kind of shows that happens. So they'd both be better off here, right? But the problem is, like, certain parties cheat. So like if they go this way, like cheat and cheat. So like if they go to those different areas, they cheat on the agreement. And then if they both cheat, they get here. So like here they would both lose, because they would both lose because they both tried to undercut on price against each other. So this is kind of like this 10 and 10, that's kind of like the competitive outcome. And this is like the collusion / cartel, where they maximize profit through setting price where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And then this is kind of like where they undercut, where one undercuts on price. And then over here is like if the other undercuts on price. And then this is where they where they have a competitive outcome. Yeah. It's kind of what happens there. The sequential game, that can be shown here. And then so yeah, oligopolies are shown in big tech right now through Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple. They compete on advertising dollars and they compete with electronic devices. So this happens. So companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple, they all work together to maximize profits, and a lot of them do cheat because they undercut on price, and then they start to become more competitive with each other because a lot of them do try to take all the business from the other through undercutting on price. But if they would be better off if they just stayed as a cartel where they maximize profits for all of them together. But the problem is each company tries to compete and tries to undercut on price and take all the customers away from each other company. And that's just due to greed. So that happens a lot. So that's a lot of the material so far. I'm just going to bring up our next activity here. Get started here. So I'm going to put this up for everybody. So join, click on this link. I'm just going to put it in the chat. Click on this link to join, and then we'll start. Okay, so we'll get started in a few minutes. And I think if you haven't gotten in yet, you can still get in. There's no like time limit. You can just come in. Okay, we'll get started. Great job, everyone. That was D. Technological advance provides new and better products, better ways of producing and distributing these products. So supply curve shifts right, so we can increase supply through technology. But short run, there's no change in technology, plant, and equipment. Long run, there's no change in technology. Very long run, technology changes with R&D. So invention is new product or process based on scientific knowledge and patent protection. So innovation is focused on product and process innovation. However, we can't patent innovation. Diffusion is spread of innovation through imitation and copying. Firms embed new innovation, and it's crucial to capitalism. So yeah, a good question. It's Jacob Clifford. I'll post that in, I'm just gonna post that in the chat, and then I'll post it in the class too. He does, I think he's the best educator on economics that I can think of. He does a lot of economics videos, and there's no one better, I think. So I'll post that in Blackboard too. So yeah, I'll post in Blackboard, and then we'll get back to the lecture. But yeah, he does the greatest job out of anybody in terms of explaining this. Okay, it's posted in the chat and also on Blackboard. So diffusion is spread of new information through imitation or copying. Firms embed new innovations, crucial to capitalism. Yeah, no problem. So Korea has the highest total R&D expenditures as a percentage of GDP. Israel is second, Sweden is third, Japan is fourth. It's good to have higher R&D expenditures as a percentage of GDP because the country will be doing better economically. And that's shown in Korea and Israel and Sweden and Japan. Those countries' economies are growing at a very fast rate as opposed, like compared to countries like Canada and Great Britain. It's very important to spend a lot on R&D. And technological advance is driven by capitalism, and profit is incentive, and rivalry among firms is the cause. And yeah, entrepreneurs, we need entrepreneurs to build. So they're initiators, innovators, and risk bearers. We need to combine land, labor, and capital to produce new goods and services, and entrepreneurs do that. So we need to create startups, innovate within existing firms. So forming startups is called entrepreneurship. And then innovating within existing firms is called entrepreneurship. So it's important to anticipate the future. It's very hard to do that, but that's what innovators try to do. So marginal benefit and marginal cost, we can look at that. We need the efficient level of research and development is determined when marginal benefit equals marginal cost. So we want to ensure that that's the case here. And we will hit the efficient level if we're here. So we want to have we want to be at equilibrium here. This is efficient. So that's where we want to be, right there. So that's when the expected rate of return equals the interest rate cost of funds. So we will be efficient when the expected rate of return is equal to the interest rate cost of funds. So that's where we want to be, and that's where it's efficient. So that will make sure that we have optimal R&D. And then we got to look at expected not guaranteed returns because there's a lot of risk. So we got to make sure that we're balancing that. And so imitation and R&D incentives. We have the imitation problem with R&D. So like a lot of companies, they could imitate us and violate our patents. So that does happen a lot in like through counterfeit goods. They produce counterfeit iPhones in China and imitate the iPhone. This is a violation of copyrights. The imitation problem does happen and it can hurt a business. It's important to be first. So if you're first, you will get the benefit of being able to apply for a patent, copyright, or trademark, and you get brand name recognition and trade secrets through learning by doing. So that's very important. Being first is so important. Like, for example, with Facebook, they were one of the first to social media, and that's why they have such a first mover advantage. That's why people are so know Facebook the best. And they're being first is so important to being successful in those types of industries. So this list shows that foreign citizens, corporations, and governments hold 42% of US patents. So Japan holds the most US patents out of foreign countries. Germany is second, Taiwan is third, South Korea is fourth. So they do this to create a lot of products such as cell phones and electronics, because Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea are mostly focused on a lot of what they produce is technology. So they can use US patents to create the technology, because the US usually outsources their technology to those countries to produce their technology. So technological progress is benefited. Pure competition is good in order to create new technology. Technological progress is better through pure competition, because companies have the incentive to innovate because they need to compete on innovation. And also monopolistic competition, it's a good industry for creating new innovation because they compete on innovation. Oligopoly is a problem, like it's not very innovative because they don't really have to compete with each other that hard. So they don't have a lot of incentive to innovate. For example, Rogers has a lot of issues with their innovation in terms of the television technology. Pure monopoly, they don't have a lot of incentive to innovate because there's no competition. There's no competition that is trying to compete based on the innovation, so they don't have to innovate. If there's no competition competing on innovation, they don't have to innovate. So we need to spend more on research and development in Canada. There hasn't been enough spent on research and development. So we need to spend more, similar to countries like Korea, in order to grow our economy. The problem is we're not spending enough right now. So that's something that we should be focusing on. It's important to be spending more on research and development here. So we'll get started on this next activity here. So what is something a person or business does for you? Starts with an S. Service. What's a tangible item you can purchase? Good. What's a person or business who creates something or performs a service in exchange for purchase or trade? Producer.